This is a textual rhetorical analysis for Ms. Hurtado's composition class. The analysis is based on Habib Jafarian article, How to Be a Woman in Tehran, which conveys the audience to consider that the unique boundary of gender is only mental. So, the article was published by Guernica on March 16 on 2015, but first it was translated from the Persian by Salar Abdo. It portrays the discriminatory reality of a female journalist in Iran. Jafarian describes one of her accustomed days at work through narration and dialogues. Also, the writer flashes memories and personal opinions while she is telling her story. She does this to make the audience witness through her life the position and emotion that females struggle as the boundary of gender in Iran. Moreover, Jafarian highlights her fight against gender barriers by emphasizing how the boundaries are feared and uniquely constructed over social normative. To achieve what was mentioned, the writer employs dialogues, repetition, and organization as strategies to aim the Guernica subscribers and to empower Iranian women and more all over the world. Also, this article is ethical due to its approach to the acceptance of being a female and fighting for it. Now, we're going to talk about the rhetorical situation. As the context, the article appeared originally in the Persian language, but on March 16 of 2015 it was published in English by the Guernica magazine. By the time Iran was trending in the news on July 14, by achieving the historical nuclear agreement with the Occidental countries. The deal stood for limiting Iran the pathways to create nuclear weapons. So it was a huge step when they signed something that Occidental countries were expecting and dialoguing for years, which makes the world believe that Iran just needs pressure to reform and treat all of its citizens the same way. And on November 9, Iran appoints the first female ambassador since the Islamic Revolution in 1979 as an example of creating equal opportunities for women. So the previous events emphasize Jafarian's way of thinking and will of a change. Moreover, the text. When the users read that article, they will certainly perceive that the author is fighting against gender restrictions, but just by seeing how Jafarian portrays her reality, also, it is clear her attempt to set an example for the Iranian woman. Additionally, the audience. They are subscribers of Guernica's magazines, and first of all, it was Iranian woman, but then they translate the article, so it is dedicated to an audience that does not approve gender barriers in general. Finally, the communicator. She's an award-winner journalist born in Mashhad, the most religious city of Iran, but she lives in Tehran. Also, she's the author of several award-winning biographies in Persian, so it makes herself being like more reliable in her work. The more outstanding strategies that were mentioned were dialogues, repetition, and organization. The first strategy is dialogue. Jafarian has successfully employed dialogues by narrating her experiences, for motivating the reader to appeal empathy, earn trust in her words, understand, and find the main purpose of the text. So she is appealing to ethos, pathos, and logos. For example, when she recalls a famous quote of the first follower of Islam that his father used to tell her, the quote was, "Fearfulness, which is the worst of traits in a man, is indeed the best of traits in a woman." So she was alluding that from the beginning of her culture, women had to fear because it is a quality, highlighting the boundaries of genders. As the second strategy is repetition, which emphasizes pathos and logos. So the writer uses the word laugh and the phrase I fear for you, Habib, often, to strongly appeal the irony and braveness, respectively, of a Tehrannian woman life. For example, and I quote Jafarian's girlfriend, she said, "You are laughing again. I just can't understand why you stay in this country. Why?" Before this comment, they had a dialogue where they giggled 5 times because the author wanted to enhance irony in every daily aspect they had, as following different rules because of their gender and to question the fairness of its nature. And the I fear for you Habib's quote is mostly to identify her fight and courage along her way. The third strategy is organization, which appeals to pathos and logos. Well, the author ends and starts stating that she challenges the barriers of gender to catch the reader's attention, also narrating just one day of her life that encompasses a significant amount of prejudice allowed to sensitivity. And the asterisks correlated her report and personal experience to the Iranian woman's reality. So it wasn't hard to read. When we talk about ethics, the article approaches the acceptance of being a female and fighting for it. The text extends with positive values as determination, perseverance, and integrity to break the boundaries between genders. The audience does not experience self-centered thoughts or events, and it promotes to not qualify an individual by gender. So the article is ethical. As additional information, the BBC's Iranian Woman Before and After the Islamic Revolution article published on February 8 of 2018 highlights that the Islamic Revolution that was in 1979 brought old-fashioned laws directed to women when they had much more fairness. So the changes were like mandatory dress code, they tried to stop women from attending universities, men and women sitting together should show more restraint in their interactions, and so on. Thus, being a woman in Iran is punished by law. And the other article from the New York Times, a daughter is beheaded and Iran asks if women have a right to safety, by Farnaz Fasihi, published on June 7 of 2020, is about how even the president of Iran has called for new protections for women after a 14-year-old girl was murdered by her father in a so-called honor killing because she was escaping. So the recall of the president gives hopes to the country, but when the killing is considered an honor, it's disturbing because the leader could make changes, but if the citizens don't believe in those changes, everything will be difficult and women will be thought different as men, even if the law stands for them. So that is why the author is fighting for fairness. Finally, the works cited are as follows. Thank you for watching.